I think good storytelling requires vulnerability, and you have to be you have to be brave to
Mhm.
tell a good story. Like, you can't, tell a story and just feel totally cool and confident and secure. Like, in order to, really tell a good story, you have to dig deep and kind of like reveal
Mm.
or investigate a part of you that maybe you didn't want to look at
Mhm.
before or talk
Mhm.
about or feel or remember. Yeah, I think it requires that kind of level of vulnerability.
Today's guest is Domee Shi, the Oscar-winning creator of Bao, director of Turning Red, and vice president of creative at Pixar. Born in Chongqing and raised in Toronto, Domee grew up drawing anime, navigating immigrant family expectations, and discovering early on that storytelling was her connection to the world. In this conversation, she takes us inside Pixar's creative process, from pitching storyboards with sound effects to learning early from legends like Docter. She shares how Bao started as a personal side project, why she nearly changed its now iconic ending, and how embracing vulnerability became the key to her storytelling voice. We talk about the real life roots behind Turning Red, the pressure and pride of being Pixar's first solo female feature director, and how tapping into buried emotions, the ones that many Asian kids are taught to avoid, became her greatest strength as a filmmaker. If you're interested in creativity, identity, or the craft of telling stories that move people, you'll love this episode with Domee Shi. All right, today's guest on the podcast is Domee Shi. Domee is the vice president of creative at Pixar. She worked on films such as Toy Story 4, Luca, Soul, Elemental, Inside Out 2, and is the creative director of Bao and Turning Red. And thanks for being on the pod with us today, Domee.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
So we just had lunch not too long ago, so it's we'll just continue the conversation from there. But I would love to get to tell folks kind of how your background and how you got into animation, but also kind of your story growing up as a kid in Toronto. You were born in China but immigrated when you were 2, is that right?
That's correct. Yes, I was born in China, in the city of Chongqing, actually, and both my parents are in academia. So my mom has a PhD in education. My dad has a master's in fine arts. So I'm kind of the product of both of them in some ways. I think that's kind of where I got my writing and drawing kind of passion from is from the both of them tutoring me and encouraging me at a young age. But yeah, we moved to Canada when I was 2. My mom came on a student visa to pursue her PhD. And then eventually we moved to Toronto, and that's where I grew up, and that's where the movie, actually both movies, like Bao, my short film, and Turning Red take place in Toronto. And I feel really lucky in that I grew up in a very multicultural
Mm-hmm.
city, and I never really felt. I mean, there were moments where I did feel othered, but for the most part, I was surrounded by immigrant kids and Asian kids. The main reason why I felt othered was because I was a big nerd who was
Mm-hmm.
really into anime and manga and comics and Disney, and I've always loved drawing. I felt like I always loved it at a young age, just like drawing a picture and showing it to somebody and getting that immediate reaction and response from someone. It just felt like a cheat code to being able to communicate
Mm-hmm.
and connect with others, like where, I would fall short, speaking, I would be able to immediately, form connections and friendships with people just
Mm-hmm.
by sharing with them my drawing. So I really wanted to follow that passion and pursue that. My career somehow. I remember when I was younger, my mom was trying to meet me in the middle, as an Asian parent. She was like, "What about medical illustration?"
I
So it's
still want
not
you to be a doctor somehow.
I know, it's, like, not quite a doctor, but I still it's, like, meeting me halfway.
Yeah.
But I somehow was able to convince them to, let me go to animation school after high school.
Yeah.
Uh, and, I was able to turn that into a career somehow.
Amazing. And so then, I mean, you started, I mean, the movie Turning Red and Bao were clearly love letters to Toronto. So I can feel your love for your hometown. It's very obvious, and just in the backgrounds, the settings and everything, you feel Toronto coming out of those films. So it's clear it's a special place in your heart. Did your parents, I mean, so it sounded like your dad was in fine arts. So was did he give you a hard time about going into animation, or he knew from an early age that this is what you want to do?
Oh, he was very supportive from the beginning, but he was also very much like, "Okay, if this is what you wanna do, then you have to take it seriously.
Mhm.
We're gonna" like, me and him would go to life drawing classes together in high school. We'd go to the local, art college, in the evening after school, we'd go together, and there's nothing more awkward than drawing nude models next to your father and having him critique, the anatomy
Mm.
of the naked people that you guys are drawing.
Awkward. So awkward.
Yeah, but it paid off, 'cause, in order to get into the animation program at Sheridan College, you need a portfolio,
Uh,
so I wouldn't have been able to get in without his help.
oh, wow.
Yeah, like, we it was intense though, his motto, even though he's an artist, he very much kind of, is still a stereotypical immigrant parent
Yeah.
who's like, "No pain, no gain," you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
he would just gave me all of his classical drawing books from when he was in art school in China and have me copy from the masters, and I
Wow.
remember complaining as a kid, like, "I just wanna draw the images in my
Yeah.
head," and he's like, "You'll get there. First, you gotta learn the basics, and then you can
Mm.
draw what you want."
Mm. Yeah.
But I have him to thank
Yeah.
because of that I have a very I went into college and into Pixar with a pretty strong drawing foundation,
Mhm.
and I think it was kind of through this disciplined way of, learning how to draw that I was able to, develop the tools to kind of express the
Yeah.
ideas I have in my head and translate it onto paper, you know?
Yeah, even with our youngest, he's 6 now, but we take him to art he's been going to art classes for a couple of years now, and we always wonder, like, is it worse to have them learn the technical things when at that age they wanna be creative and do their own things, just draw for fun? But I mean, because some of these places can suck the creativity out of you because 'cause they're making you draw a
True.
certain way and discipline you, but I mean, I can tell he's gotten much better, but I don't know if that's because of the class, but he has a passion for now he's used different mediums from clay to,
Ooh.
acrylics and other things, but I'm like, "He's 6, but he really enjoys it." So I think it's great to I just don't always wonder, do you feel like it's too early to start with those classes at too young an age?
I don't think it's too early, and I don't think there's one way to do it.
Mm,
And you hear those stories about, Picasso who went to like he was a classically trained artist, and it took, afterwards later in his life he only became more well known after he unlearned all of the stuff that he learned in
yeah,
school. So there is no one way to do it, but
yeah,
there is like as you're like I don't think you can find your voice and your style unless you are drawing and working and figuring it
mm,
out. Like you just have to keep doing it
yeah,
and try different things until you get to a point where it's something that you want to do and you
yeah,
you can't imagine not doing it.
yeah,
That's kind of what happened with me with drawing.
yeah,
Like, I feel like all the technical kind of lessons that my dad taught me were a good foundation for me, but after that, like, I pretty much was I was pretty
mhm.
self-sufficient and kind of on my own and on the internet, just kind of, like, joining different fandoms and art communities, and
Oh,
I
this is when you
didn't
were on DeviantArt and uploading
I was on
your work.
DeviantArt, Blogspot,
Yeah,
Tumblr. You just wanna get to a place
get
where
it
you
out there.
don't need someone to force you to do it, like, you
Yeah,
want to do it and you're
yeah,
just self-driven,
yeah,
and that's kind of the place where I was at.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the only way for any kid because I see so many parents now pushing their kids to in youth sports to be like go to practice or like when our parents were making us play piano or violin, it's like
Yeah.
I hated it, so you couldn't make me practice. So like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get any good if I can't motivate to actually practice or want to
Yeah,
do it.
it's all about that self-motivation, like, that's everything. Like, that kind of carried with me, like, into college and into Pixar too, like, I don't think I
Hmm.
would have been able to like, I wouldn't be here, like, having directed 2 feature films and a short film if I was not self-motivated,
Hmm.
early on in my career to start working on a short film just on
Yeah,
my
on a
own.
side project. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
didn't do bow on the side.
Exactly, like, Bao started as a side project. No one told me or, like, asked me to start a short film. I was kind of just be I was just a story artist on Inside Out and,
Yeah,
like, but I wanted to make sure that I continued to, motivate myself to tell stories, to be creative, to work on my own projects and not just become like a wrist
Yeah.
for other projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Did you
that's kind of
feel like
how I did.
is that common? How like people working on side projects at Pixar?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably common in your field too, right? Like,
Yeah.
everyone's got their own kinda thing going on.
Yeah.
And
Tinkering with stuff.
it's easy to get comfortable, right? It's
Yeah.
easy to just get comfortable with your day job and with
Yep.
the very specific task that you're set out to do, but, I always I got a taste for making short films at Sheridan College.
Mhm.
I made 2 short films there, and I feel like making a short film is the best way to learn how to be a filmmaker because it
Yeah.
really exposes you to every kinda aspect of the filmmaking process, not just, like, storyboarding, not just, like, writing, but you
Yeah.
you get to do and see everything, like the animation part, editing, music,
Yeah.
like, post, like, all that stuff is so like, you have to learn on the job.
Yeah. 100% on a smaller scale, but it's exactly the taste of everything.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been able to make Turning Red or had the confidence to make Turning Red had I not made a short film beforehand.
And I think it's a good, like, lesson for a lot of people because I think I started my first company after building stuff as a side project, like just a tinker and see if I could do it and then start making money on the side. I'm like, oh, this actually works. And that became a full-fledged company during my while I was working at night on my day job. But I feel like had you not worked on this side project and things that it's actually something that becomes you're actually more passionate about your side project and it becomes takes over everything, all your free time. But I think that's what you when you really find out what you really want to work on and you learn so much from doing it and then you can go all in on that. Because I feel like, in Asian cultures we can tend to be conservative and risk averse. So,
Ooh.
oh, I don't want to quit my job and start something brand new because I don't know what if it fails. But you can always work on a side project and, if you're,
Yeah.
it takes you amazing places like your about took you.
Yeah, yeah, and the side project allows you a safe space to fail and to
Hmm.
experiment, and it's a place where, the stakes are not high,
Hmm.
so you can be more experimental and you can, yeah, like, try stuff, and if it doesn't work, it's okay, like, you're not,
Yeah.
responsible for losing millions of
Yeah.
dollars. It's just a great place to develop your voice and your confidence at a smaller kinda scale.
Totally. And so then how much did your life resemble like May's life in, from Turning Red? And I mean growing up.
I mean, there are aspects of it that are autobiographical, like the fact that, she grew up in the 2000s in Toronto, and so did I. But,
Was your mom that control? Was she really behind a tree?
I mean, she's inspired by a lot of strong women in my life, like, my all my aunties are that way too. I have a lot of really strong, amazing female role models, in my family, so I feel very fortunate in that sense. But, with all of my stories, I think they start from a personal place, but then as you write and as you work on the story, they kind of develop a life of their own, and you kinda have to let them kind of turn into something different, into something that you didn't expect. Like, I was definitely an obsessive, nerdy girl like May, but I was never into boy bands as much as she is into Four Town. For me, I like boy bands like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, I liked Spice Girls, but I was really, really into, like, Harry Potter. I
Mm,
was really into, like, anime, like Sailor Moon,
yep.
Pokemon, so I was way nerdier, but I was just as obsessive and horny as she is in the movie, but not towards real boys.
Towards
Fictional
animated.
boys, only
Right.
fictional
Right.
boys. But maybe
Animated
that would
voice.
have been too weird to put in a in a
Yeah. The
Pixar
Disney.
movie. We we had to make it accessible. It's like most people remember being obsessed with a boy band.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, gosh, my age was I think it was like New Edition and
Oh, yeah, you're
New Kids on
Gen
the
X,
Block and stuff. I'm
right? I
older,
think
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like
I'm a
Gen
little
X.
even older. Yeah, Gen X, but I'm
You're
on the
Gen X.
tail end of it, so it was like
Huh.
back New Kids on the Block and things like that. But
Those are like the OG
the
boy band.
originals, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, still
So you were at Sheridan and then how'd you end up at Pixar?
Yeah, so Pixar, every year they have an amazing summer internship program. across many different departments. So there's art, there's story, there's animation, there's production, and I applied for their story internship in the summer of 2011. I had gotten rejected the year before, but this time around I like redid my portfolio, and I
How do you do
tried
a portfolio?
again.
Can you explain what story is and like how do you make a portfolio for a
Yeah.
story?
Yeah, so, a story portfolio, it is like a selection of storyboards that, that tell kind of a beginning, middle, and end. They kind of just showcase your voice, your strengths, like, are you more, into action? Are you more about comedy? It's kind of a portfolio that shows off, like, your strengths as a filmmaker, your drawing, acting, camera kinda chops.
But story is not just your art. It's actually you have to actually do some writing or, put
You
together a
have to
story?
yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of directors at Pixar come from the story
Yeah.
department, because to be a story artist, you kind of have to do a little bit of everything, like, you
Mhm.
have to draw, but you also, have to be an actor a little bit, like, a lot of the
Mhm.
times, the choices that you're making, that you're drawing in the storyboards are gonna be used as reference for the animators later on. You're also thinking about, like, editing, shots,
Mm.
you're, like, coming up with the first initial cut
Yeah.
of a scene,
Yeah.
essentially, and you also have to, like, act out a lot of the scenes too, like,
Yeah.
after you storyboard a sequence, like, after you
Yeah.
storyboard 4 or 5 pages of the script, it's not like you just hand it in, like, you actually have to
Right.
pitch it to
Yeah.
the director, and you have to do all the sound effects and voices and
Yourself.
dialogue, so
Yeah.
you're kind of performing as
Yeah.
well. So it's a
Wow.
little bit of everything in
I mean,
that
I think
sense.
it's very similar to like a product manager role at tech companies because you start off doing as a product manager, you manage a little bit of everything, like how you're going to market this thing, what's the design, the UX going to look like how you're
Ooh,
going to, market this,
yeah.
who are the engineers you want on this, and so but it's like a mini. I guess it's like a short. It's like doing a short, but it's like a you're responsible for all of it and you have the vision. Most importantly, you're the one who's orchestrating and has the vision for everything. So
Yeah.
everyone looks to you as the point person, and like, okay, so what do you want to see from this? Like, what do you want me to do? And so you already have it all in your head because you've done the voices, you've shot the shots because you know exactly how the scene should be set up, um, and probably have the music in your head too, even, or the right music because this is what you envisions.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, yeah, like, when I was a story artist, and I was assigned a section of the movie, like, for example, on Toy Story 4, I don't know if you ever seen Toy Story 4.
Of course,
Yeah, so it's essentially
I'm
like
friends with
like
Ali, with the voice of the police woman.
oh, yeah, yeah, oh my gosh, I love her voice. Essentially, yeah, it's kinda like Woody kind of finding his long lost girlfriend, Bo,
Yep.
again, and I remember early on, like, I worked on it early on, and I was assigned with the task of, like, "Oh, like, explore a scene where we see how they fall in love over the years."
Mm,
Across all the Toy Story movies, and so I, like, boarded essentially like a love montage, and I found, like, a piece of music, I think it was like the score of, like, a rom-com, and I played the music while pitching the board to the director,
yeah.
so sometimes that's what you have to do to, like,
Yeah.
sell the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're thinking about all of that as a story artist, so that's why it's kind of like the training ground to be a director
So the
sometimes.
story artists, they don't do the story for the whole film. It sounded like that was a part of it.
Well, for each
I guess the
film,
lead. Yeah.
for a 90-minute film, it's, 90 to 100 pages of script,
Mhm.
and and you have a story team of, like, 5 to 7
Mm.
story artists, and they each take a chunk of the script and they storyboard it.
Mhm.
So that was essentially my job, was to
Got it.
storyboard chunks of the movie that were kicked off to me, and I deliver these storyboards
Got
to
it.
the editor, and then the director sits with the editor, and they cut it together with music and sound effects and dialogue, and they create, like a rough
Rough.
cut of the animated movie, and they're called story reels,
Mhm.
and it plays kind of in quote unquote like real time, but it's essentially all
Not fully drawn.
drawings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's all
it's the
drawing.
an extra section of all the DVDs that you can watch on Pixar movies,
Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
or the
It's
cut
the
deleted
blueprint.
scenes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but we, like, work in that format
Yep.
for a really long time
Yep.
when we're
Sketches and stuff.
making. Yeah,
Now
because
I'm
it's
cur-
so much cheaper to, like,
Oh,
draw
100%.
a
Yeah.
storyboard than to, like, animate a
Yeah.
full kinda
Yeah.
scene.
And render
Yeah,
all of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Now I'm
exactly.
now I'm curious. I feel like the greatest scene of all time in any movie is the up montage in the beginning that makes everyone cry. Who was responsible for that? That
Oh,
storyboard.
iconic. Yeah, that was a combination of Ronnie Del Carmen. I think he was the head of story on Up,
Mm.
and he was the co-director on Inside Out. He's an amazing artist, filmmaker, person. He's like the guy
Oh man.
to that they used to kick these types of scenes
Yeah.
off to.
Yeah.
So it was him. I think he also boarded that scene in Ratatouille when at the end when Anton Ego like bite of
The
the food and
flashback
then
to the
leaves.
child.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I
yeah.
just watched that with my boys. I'm like, oh my gosh.
He's the
Well, those are
guy.
iconic scenes.
He's the man. Yeah, he's
Wow.
amazing. So it
To
was
make people
him.
cry with no words, to make
I
people cry with no
know.
words is amazing.
He's incredible. If I remember, it was him, it was the editor, Kevin Nolting, who's also the editor for Inside Out
Yeah.
and Soul,
I mean, Michael
and
Giacchino's
the
score also helps.
score,
Yeah.
and of course, it's Pete Docter, like, he's kind
Yeah.
of the mad genius.
Yeah.
He has this very, like it's kind of an amazing, crazy creative process. It's not linear at all. He kinda
Yeah.
has a lot of, like, pots on the stove cooking, and he jumps around the movie a
Mm.
lot, and he just, like, experiments and tries things, and he kinda he'll, like, explore a path, run into a wall, and then kinda be like, "Oh, well, let's go back to the first version of that, but let's get this little nugget that we discovered while we were exploring this
Oh
path
wow.
and put it into the final thing." Yeah, I remember storyboarding on Inside Out and just I think 90% of the stuff I storyboarded they threw out, but that's kind of the process. It's like
Mhm.
the iterative kind of process where you explore, like, you're not
Yeah.
precious, and you're just, like, letting the movie kind of eventually tell you what it needs to be while also guiding it. He's really good at doing both in
Yeah.
some way. There
And
are
you can't take it
some.
personally or anything. You can't take
Oh,
it
no.
personally. Yeah.
No, no, you fall in love with the process. It's all just part of the process. Like,
Mhm.
you become very not, like, unprecious with each individual drawing that you do. For me, like, the goal is less, like, producing a beautiful, like, drawing and more just, like, getting a reaction
Yeah.
out of audience members. Like, if we show them something and then they react, like, how they're supposed to react, then
Yeah.
that fuels
You
me.
succeeded. Yeah. Yeah.
And that feeds me, and I wanna chase that feeling again more than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, it's like an addiction. It's like, I want more of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because, like, when an audience when they go and see your movie, like, they are surrendering, the 90 minutes of their life to you, like,
Mhm.
you have them trapped there.
Yeah.
You can show them anything and take them on any kind of rides.
Yeah.
It's kinda crazy to have that power.
It just takes so long to get that ride set up for people to
I
it's like
know.
years and years.
It does take years, but then, if you do it right,
The payoff
the
is so
the
worth it. Yeah.
payoff is so
It's huge.
awesome. Yeah.
And so when you were working on Inside Out 2, you were working on Bao on the side.
I
Right? Is
worked on
that
the
right?
first Inside Out,
Oh,
the
when you were working on Inside Out 1,
one.
that's when you
Yeah.
were doing Bao? That's right. So, I mean, how you were able to like did a lot of folks know you were working on it, or were you just working it like quietly on the side?
For uh, During Inside Out, when I was making Bao, it was a side project. I was mostly doing it on my own, but I would be showing it to my coworkers and colleagues. If like, I would be storyboarding it, and once I got enough storyboarded, I'll just, like, pitch it to some friends and get their feedback. So it was kind of just at that stage for a while.
Yeah.
I remember reaching out to Rona Liu initially because I was looking for, like, a production designer. I was thinking about making this in, like, as a 2D short, and
Mhm.
she eventually became the actual production designer for Bao and then
Mhm.
eventually Turning Red, and, we just clicked immediately. Like, I remember we took little field trips to the Asian Art Museum in San Francisco. We went to Chinatown. We, like, bought a bunch of, like, bao and buns and dumplings from, like, a bakery, and we, like, took photos of it for
Yeah.
reference. And then eventually I did get the story to a point where I reached out to Docter, and I just asked him if I could pitch him something purely for feedback. Like, I wasn't gunning on, trying to sell Bao to him as a
Mhm.
Pixar short. I just wanted his, advice on it, but then he really liked the idea. Like he was blown away by the ending where the mom eats the
Mhm.
dumpling, and he just loved that shocking ending so much that eventually when Pixar was kind of like they used to do this back then, they used to hold these, like, open auditions, almost like open
Open mic night kinda thing?
almost like yeah, like open casting call almost
Yeah.
for pitches for their next theatrical short.
Uh-huh.
Like, any employee could kind of sign up
Cool.
and pitch 3 ideas for a short film, and I signed up. Bao was one of them, and I remember pitching it to Pete and a bunch of other creative execs at the time, but I had changed the ending because I was afraid. Like, I chickened out last minute. I thought an ending where a mom eats the dumpling
Yeah.
would be too dark and weird for a Disney and Pixar film, and I
Right.
thought they would never go for that, so I changed the ending last minute. I had the little dumpling escape into the night, and then the mom stays up all night making more dumplings, and then in the morning, she wakes up and they've all come to life, and then she
Oh,
lives happily ever after with them.
oh, that's totally different. That is
It's a
totally
totally
different.
different ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
sabotaged myself, but
Yeah.
luckily, Pete was there, and I had already I had initially pitched to him the
The eating.
original version,
Yeah.
so he stood up and he was like, "That's not the version you pitched to me last week." And I was like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah. Called out.
Called me out. He called me out, but I'm thank God he did
Yeah.
because,
The right ending.
he encouraged me to kind of go back and rework the original ending and repitch it to
Yeah.
the group. So I was given a second chance
Wow. Which is
to
not
re
common.
it's not common, and if I hadn't shown him earlier,
You would have never.
yeah, like, it would
Yeah.
have never happened, so that's pretty crazy. I guess it's like a lesson in, like, sticking to your gut and your
Yeah.
original vision
Yeah. Yeah.
like, don't ever be afraid of being too weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we self-filter or self-censor too often because we want to like be liked by or be approved, get approval from everyone else, or
Yeah.
you need
Or
permission from other people.
or you're trying to predict what people will like.
Reactions. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're trying to cater to that instead of just, like, staying true to what excites you,
Yeah.
about your idea,
I
so
mean, that's why
that
we get so many formulaic like films and stories because it's like, oh, it's what they think the masses will want to see, but that's never very unique or interesting.
I know, it's a tricky balance, though, between, yeah, like, maintaining your vision, but also, like, being able to communicate it clearly enough so
Yeah.
people will invest money.
Yeah. You need to be commercial, but I
Yeah,
know. But who thought that a cannibalistic mom eating a her balsa that
yeah,
would
who
that would be the
knew?
way to go? So did you? I mean, her name was Rona. Was it Rona? You said
Rona Liu, yep.
Rona Leo. I mean, I think it's helped that she was also Asian. She probably understood, all the stuff that you were trying
Oh,
to
yeah,
say,
for
right?
sure, yeah, I mean, it was super helpful to work with Asian collaborators,
Yeah.
on both Bao and on Turning Red.
Yeah.
Julia Cho was the co-writer for Turning Red, and she's Korean, but, like, both of us have like, similar personal experiences in our relationships with our mothers,
Hmm.
our aunties, and just, like, being, like, kind of, like, overachieving dorks when we were
Yeah.
both, like, tweens, so it's always helpful to have that personal connection when your story is
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So why did you change it to why wasn't the Bao a daughter instead of a son? If you were,
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember at the time, like, I was really inspired by the little gingerbread man.
Mm,
I wanted to do, like my own kinda take on that classic kind of fairy
got it.
tale. And then I also felt like a mother-daughter story is so
Way more
emotionally
complicated. It's way more
complex.
complex. Yeah.
Yeah, than for like a 5-minute,
Yeah, that's true.
5 to
There's
7-minute
a
short
lot more
film.
baggage between Asian mother-daughter relationships for sure.
Yeah, 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 and then there's something about his design, like, I always drew him as a boy, I don't think I ever kind of imagined him as
Yeah.
a girl,
I still
so
think he looks like Jeff Yang. I mean, it looks the real life version.
Looks like a lot of people.
He
A lot of
does, that's
people come
true.
up to me and said like, "Oh my gosh, did you model this after me or my brother or my
Yeah.
husband?"
Don't worry, I used to get Russell for after Up came out. Everyone's like, "Oh, you look
Oh,
like." I'm like, "Oh boy." So I was like, I did dress like him for Halloween, and I did end up looking a lot like that.
I wanna see
But
that. I
uh,
want to see that.
but yeah, no, you. I mean, so it was like now I feel like what inspired you to make an actual Bao, a cartoon character? Now you see all the, I feel like a lot of food anthropomorphized in Squishmallows and other things, but like it's everywhere. But I
Yeah.
mean, what made you think making a Bao into a human character, like an anthropomorphizing a Bao would?
Yeah, I mean, those types of stories have been kind of in our cultures for a long
Mm.
time, right? Like I mentioned before, the little gingerbread man, but also in like Asian folk tales too. In like Japanese culture, there's that boy that was born in a peach.
Oh yeah, okay.
Momotaro or
But he
something,
was born in a peach. He wasn't the peach, was he?
I know, he wasn't the but I feel like, like there are fairy tales about, these lonely old
Food coming.
ladies who suddenly are blessed with a magical little kid. But
Pinocchio
I
like.
haven't seen one where, like, it explores, like yeah, like, an ending where, the parent takes matters into their own hands and eats the little kid in order to keep them in their stomachs forever. I mean, that part was definitely inspired by my own relationship with my mom
Yeah.
and dad because 'cause I'm an only
The only
child.
child, yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely felt like a smothered little dumpling
Mhm.
growing up.
Yeah.
And, my mom, I've said this before in other interviews, but yeah, like a lot of the inspiration for the story was my mom, constantly saying like, "Oh, Domee, I wish I could put you back in my stomach so I knew where you were at all times."
My.
Uh, but then when you talk to parents, that is like a common
Yeah.
feeling of just like wanting to like you love something so much, like you don't want to let it go,
Let
like you
go.
want to
Yeah.
consume it. And I thought like, wouldn't a bow be a perfect metaphor
Yeah.
for that feeling? Because they are so like edible looking and they kind of look like little squishy babies.
Yeah.
So easily pop it into your mouth.
You're
Yeah.
right. I mean, it sounds like it was an amazing journey from doing the short, but I mean, very few people ever know the feeling of like going to an Academy Awards ceremony, much less getting on stage to give a speech for winning one.
Yeah.
Like, what was going through your mind as Aquafina handed you your first Oscar in front of the entire world?
Oh yeah, it was Aquafina. I totally forgot.
You blanked out. I'm like, I watched the
Yeah,
video.
I
Yeah.
mean, it is like you're blanked out. It is like an out of body experience. I was on autopilot for sure.
Yeah. I mean, did you expect it? Was there any kind of buzz already at one other? And you're like, okay, you're
I
ready?
feel like it was between I mean,
Because you had a speech. You're ready.
we were told to prepare a speech, and of course we did, but, like, the competition was tough that year. There were a lot of really great shorts. There was another short by a fellow Pixarian, Trevor Jimenez. His short was also an autobiographical story about growing up in Toronto, and, he's an incredible filmmaker too, so I was like, "It could be Trevor." I just
Hmm.
I don't know. So when they called our names, yeah, I was just kind of on autopilot, and I didn't really register what was going on, but the backstage was really cool, that was really fun to experience because you don't get to see the backstage that much when you're watching it on TV at home, but there is an army of people, making sure that this live show goes off without a hitch.
Yeah.
And, you're whisked away to different rooms. They pass you champagne in, like, every single step. At some point, I'm in an
You're wasted
elevator.
by the time.
Yeah, like you go backstage, you stand in front of this, like, thank you camera where you can
Hmm.
actually take the time to thank everybody that you
Oh, okay.
couldn't thank in your normal speech, and then they whisk you up an elevator, like, you actually go into the elevator, and then you arrive at some 2nd floor, and there's, like, a press room full of, with hundreds of reporters. There's, like, another room where you take photos, there's another room where you get to FaceTime your loved ones, get their reactions. There's, like, a waiting room because you can't immediately go back to your seats.
See,
So you're kind of just like chilling there with other winners, which is really surreal.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just it's nuts. And it's so crazy. It's like holding the thing in your hand and it's like this heavy,
it's heavy. Yeah,
strange, golden man.
man.
I was like, "What?" Like,
What
I won, and then we flew back on Monday, and then I just went straight back into edit,
work?
and I
Oh
started
wow.
working, and I was like, "Oh, I guess it's back to normal."
Oh wow, it was like a dream. I mean, did you get to go to like the all the parties, like Vanity
Oh,
Fair,
yeah,
governors, like because that's your ticket to walk into anything, right?
yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was really funny. It did feel like I had this magical
A golden ticket.
yeah, we showed up at the Vanity Fair party, and we, like, showed the
Yeah,
Oscars,
you're
like,
like, I'm
right
not waiting in line.
away.
I'm going right through. Yeah,
I
right
know,
this
I was
way.
like, "Wow, this can, like, you know, take us anywhere." I
Anywhere.
I remember, like, got so bold at the end of the night, I was like, "Let's try to go into the Jay-Z and Beyoncé party at the Chateau Marmont."
And did you?
And I think we, like, made it past the first threshold, and then when we got up to the actual, like, lady with the guest list, she was like, "We're full," and I was like, "Oh, that's, like, code
You
for you
you
can't
waved
go
it
in."
around? You waved it
I
around, it
I
didn't
was like, "It
work?
didn't work, it didn't work." Well, I was told by a colleague, afterwards that those types of parties are kind of intimidating because 'cause they're actually very intimate.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a small space, and you're
Yeah, they all
kinda
know
just
each other,
like
yeah.
yeah, and I was just like, "Whoa, okay. Well,
Doesn't sound
maybe it's
fun.
better if I didn't go."
I was gonna say, I
Right.
thought you heard that people bring fake Oscars to try to say, "Hey, I wanna get into."
That
I
would
think
be a way to
bouncers like,
do
"I don't."
it.
Right? Did you know when you got the award that you were the first woman of color ever to win the, short animated short?
No, I had no idea. I didn't yeah, it's crazy because like, you hear about that, and then, like, when we made Turning Red as well, like, I was, like, the
First
first,
direct yeah, first woman to
like,
direct a feature.
solo female
Director, yeah.
director for a Pixar movie. Yeah, it's crazy to be the first, but, it's more important to not be the only
Mhm,
than to be the first.
mhm.
But yeah, yeah, like, it really is pretty it's amazing, but only after the fact, like, you don't feel that way when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing it. When you're doing it, you're like, "Oh,
You're just doing
man."
it.
Yeah, a all you're focused on is trying to make the best movie
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
can.
I feel like that when I hear Jeremy Lin talk about it too, he's like, I'm just playing basketball. I'm not trying to be the first Asian anything. I just want to play basketball."
Yeah, yeah, I can relate to that feeling, yeah.
Do you feel like more of a weight now because of these labels that are on you and you're like, more pressure?
No, man, I mean, I feel like Asian filmmakers have been killing it lately.
Mhm,
And I feel like, with Everything Everywhere All at Once, K-pop Demon Hunters, John M. Chu killing
mhm,
it with Wicked. I feel like Asian Americans yeah, Chloe Zhao, I just saw Hamnet recently,
mhm,
I think that's such a beautiful movie. Celine Song as well.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of really amazing Asian filmmakers right now that it doesn't feel like the pressure is just on me to
Yeah,
represent,
yeah.
my people that like yeah, yeah, but my hope is to, keep it going and to keep
Mhm.
inspiring the next end of people to come up and to help, fellow filmmakers, if I can. Uh,
Yeah. Is there a pipeline of other women or, women of color at Pixar?
I don't know if there's a pipeline. I don't know if we have, like, a specific, like,
Or do you
program
know, not that a
initiative.
program, but do you know of, like, is there other up and coming talent that you're like, there will be?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I co-directed Elio, our latest feature film from Pixar with, very talented filmmaker Madeline Sharafian.
Mhm.
Previously, she made the Oscar-nominated short film Burrow that you can
Mm.
watch.
Yeah, I remember that.
C plus. It's great. She's super talented. Uh, and she's back in development now. I'm really, I'm in awe of what Carrie Hobson and Michael Yates did with Pixar's first original series, Win or Lose.
Mhm.
That came out a couple years ago,
Yep.
and it got nominated for a bunch of
That was great.
Daytime Emmy Awards, I think,
Yeah.
recently. It's such a cool series, and
Yeah.
they're super cool, and really inspiring new talent at the studio. Yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful, but, it's not gonna deny that it hasn't been tricky for
Mhm.
original theatrical films
Yeah.
lately, like,
Yeah.
not just in animation, but just in the
Anything. No,
yeah.
original IP is hard to come by nowadays. Everyone
It
wants
is,
the
it is,
safe
it is, but I think, with the success of K-pop, I think it's proof that there is a hunger for new
new
stories,
totally.
and for stories told by white characters.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, it was a huge success, I'm so happy for Maggie and for Chris, and
Mhm.
my hope is that the success of that movie opens the doors for a lot more projects to be made.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I wanted to ask is after the run of Bao and going on the awards and all that other stuff, you make Turning Red, first director of feature film, and you're all set for it to premiere, go to theaters, and it's during the pandemic in March 2022, and Disney decides to put it in direct to streaming. Like, what must that felt like? Because you put in so much of your heart and soul into it, and you want,
Yeah.
like you said before, there's nothing like seeing the audiences actually experience it and laugh and be in the theater with those people. And then they took that away. I mean, I don't want to say your bosses took it away, but it was you missed that opportunity because of the pandemic and the COVID spike. I mean, what did that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely disappointing at first for sure, because we made the movie to be seen on the biggest screen possible, but I think at the time it just felt like the logical thing to do, like, the goal became less of watching this movie on a big screen and more like, "How do we get as many people to watch
Hmm.
this movie as possible? How do we
Hmm.
connect with audiences in the most effective way?" And that was determined, at the time to be releasing it on Disney Plus. And, I was bummed at first, but then, I've had people come up to me, parents kind of thanking me for doing that because they
Hmm.
said, I have like 2, 3 kids. We were
It's
never gonna
expensive.
go into theater. Well, yeah, it's expensive, but we were
Yeah.
not equipped to go into a theater and risk getting COVID to watch this movie, but thank
Right.
you for releasing it on Disney Plus so that we could enjoy it at
Yeah.
home, and I think it was able to reach a lot more people that way, so I
Yeah.
like to console myself thinking about it like that.
Yeah. Kept it
But,
safe.
the few people that did watch it in theaters, I feel like they got a special treat because they were able
Yeah.
to see it how it was supposed to be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only imagine those scenes in the stadium with the giant panda,
Oh, they're
the
so
mom.
fun on the
Yeah,
big
on a
screen.
giant
Yeah,
screen, the sound, and yeah, I can only
it's so
imagine.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Unforgettable Gala when Fort Town actually sang, or the group
I
actually sang. That was
know,
pretty
that was so
impressive.
fun.
That
I
was
can't
really fun.
they were able to wrangle those guys.
Yeah, they sounded really good. The whole crowd was crazy, going crazy.
Sandra Oh was going nuts in the front row
Yeah,
too.
yeah, it was so
That's
cool.
great.
How did your mom react after seeing both Bao and Turning Red?
I mean, she's always very, like, she's always happy that she's, my muse for a lot of my work.
Even if she's portrayed as overbearing and overprotective?
I think she kind of, like, has embraced it
Okay.
because she's like, "You wouldn't be where you are if I
If yeah,
wasn't
oh,
overbearing."
we know that, yeah. And now she can brag to her friends like, I'm her in the movies."
I know. She's like, "It worked, see?
Yeah,
Tiger momming works, and
I know.
and and she's a product of it."
They take credit for it, yeah.
I know, they all take full credit for it. No, she is funny because when I told her that Sandra Oh was gonna be portraying the mom in Turning Red, she
Canadian.
was, yeah, like, impressed, and she's like, "Oh, Sandra is beautiful. Thank you for getting a beautiful actress to portray me." And then I was like, "It's not you." Exactly. She was, like, impressed that I got, like a well-known
I know.
Canadian celebrity to play her. Oh, and then when she finally did, like, she went to the Toronto premiere with my dad, and Sandra and Matreyi were there
Yeah.
too, and when she finally met Sandra in real life, like, she was so starstruck that all she could say was like, "Sandra, oh, I love you. I love you."
I
I was
love
like,
you.
dang, she's never said I love
I
you
love
to
you to
me.
you.
She
Like,
says
you're
it
saying
to
it to a
Sandra
stranger,
Oh.
but
I
no.
know.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the first thing that she says to Sandra Oh, is
Oh,
what I made a short film and a movie of
uh,
her
you
not saying to me.
you got her to say I love you, just not to you.
I
Oh
know.
my gosh, I just realized my tray is also Canadian. Like, just had all Canadians in this movie. What the heck? Like,
Yeah, I just got all the Canadians. I
oh
just got all
wow,
the coolest
interesting.
Canadians
You know,
for the movie.
they need employment too. So,
Mhm.
uh, okay, so we'll wrap it up here. But I wanted to. I always write about how important it is that, well, the most important skill anyone can have is storytelling, because I think it helps you sell, it helps you fundraise, it helps you get promoted, it helps you build
Yeah.
relationships and trust. You are one of the best, storytellers, around, and you've learned this art over years of training, of school, and you've learned it from the best. What would you say is the secret to good storytelling?
Secret to good storytelling. Gosh, that's a hard question. For me, good storytelling comes from a personal place or emotion or experience or feeling, and it requires vulnerability. I think good storytelling requires vulnerability, and you have to be you have to be brave to
Mhm.
tell a good story. Like you can't, tell a story and just feel totally cool and confident and secure. Like in order to, really tell a good story, you have to dig deep and kind of like reveal
Mm.
or investigate a part of you that maybe you didn't want to look at
Mhm.
before or talk
Mhm.
about or feel or remember. Yeah, I think it requires that kind of level of vulnerability. And that's hard for, a lot of people. It was hard for me because I grew up my whole life, learning to be strong, to suppress or not suppress, but just to like push down
Protect
or
yourself.
hide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to like hide weakness or to not linger on mistakes or bad feelings or experiences and
Yeah.
just move on from it. Like just like bury it,
Suck it
move on
up.
forward,
Yeah.
and you aren't even like I remember like it wasn't until my adulthood that I was even like comfortable with knowing how to talk about certain,
Mhm.
experiences or emotions or feelings because it
Just swallow
wasn't
all that trauma. Yeah. You're not supposed to talk about it.
yeah, like it's hard to talk about feelings
Mhm.
for some of us who
Yes. Who are told not to talk about your feelings. Don't cry. Don't cry.
but
Don't complain.
to be a good storyteller, you have to be able to harness, emotion to
Yeah.
tell a good story. Like, you have to make your audience feel something,
Yeah.
anything. It could be a joke, it could be like a scare, it could be, like a tear,
Mhm.
but you have to be more in tune with your own emotions to do that, and
Yeah.
that's hard to do.
Yeah. But it's exactly what you were saying about, like, why you want to have that moment where you get to have a theater full of people watch your work. You get to see the emotions that come out, and it's like, then you've succeeded because you've actually pulled out emotions from them, whether it be laughter or tears or surprise or whatever, and awe. I mean, those are the things a good storyteller wants to see and hear, because it means they were successful, or they were effective at telling the story.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always good to, try to surprise your audience, kind of, if you go into a story, if you if you take someone into a story, kind of like use it as an opportunity to surprise them and take them somewhere that they didn't expect to, because there is like telling a story, like you'll follow all the steps, you'll write, the typical 3-act
Mhm.
structure, you've read the hero's journey,
Mhm.
you've read all the books, and you've constructed a quote unquote perfectly, constructed story. But I think you'll lose people if they know where the story is going, like, immediately. So it's always good to, like, surprise them as well.
Like eating the bao and making it. That's where
Eating
it goes. Yeah.
wow, having a giant panda mom crash
Yeah.
a boy band
Yeah.
concert.
Unexpected. The unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, just, like, take them in a place that they didn't expect.
Yeah.
But I think that's
Yeah.
also where emotion comes from too. It's like for me, I don't cry a lot of the times when I'm watching like a sad movie that's like sad from the beginning because I already mentally know that this is going to be sad. So I'm preparing to be sad. But like I always cry when I'm sucker punched with emotion, and I think
Hmm.
that's why a lot of people cry in Pixar movies because
You're unprepared.
they
Yeah.
don't expect this, like, animated film to,
To
like,
make them.
to go there, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
think that's it too. It's, like, lull people into a false sense of security and then sucker punch them
I mean,
with
that
emotion and rawness and truth.
totally. I mean, that up montage came out of like the first 5, 10 minutes, and she was like, "What? I'm not supposed to be crying right away. This is like
I
this came
know.
out of nowhere."
This is a movie about talking dogs, flying
Yeah.
airplanes,
What?
and a whimsical old man in a house suspended with balloons, like,
Yeah. Why am
did
I
not
crying?
expect yeah, did not expect
Yeah.
this montage, that talks about life and death and
Yeah.
love
Oh my
and
gosh.
and, like, miscarriage and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Oh my gosh. So heavy and like no words, nothing.
No words,
But
yeah.
I mean, I think it's what you're saying. I didn't even think about it. I always pointed to the fact that I thought that Asians weren't good storytellers because they're so focused on STEM and science and English, and like literature is not a thing that their parents tell them to focus on.
Yeah,
But I think what you just pointed out is that the vulnerability and accessing those emotions and how to talk
yeah,
about those emotions is not something that we are even told to do or trained to do. And so we're not
yeah.
used to that.
Yeah, we're not used to it. I definitely was not used to it, and I had to, like, learn how to talk about emotions and feelings and memories and experiences and all that,
Yeah.
like, because 'cause we're just focused on, like, the
The
task
now.
at
Yeah, yeah,
hand.
yeah. Block out all the other stuff. Suck it up and just keep going forward.
But in, like, the creative field, like, yeah, like, when you're working with an actor, like, when
Yeah.
you're working in a writing room and you're, like, talking about, like, drawing on a personal experience for this moment in the movie where,
Mhm.
like, May is looking at a young version of her mom, and this is,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's, like, something that you have to kind of like, learn how to do. But I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of my Western friends, they're better at it than me.
Yeah.
Like, they could talk about their emotions, they can talk
Yeah.
about how they're feeling, they can talk about how their mom did this, and that made them feel this way, and that
Yeah.
that made them wanna do this and this instead. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
probably
so
because their parents talked to them about it, their feelings when they're younger, and our parents did not talk
yeah.
to us about our feelings.
I know, but it's so valuable because if you know how to do that, then it'll really yeah, like you said, it'll really
You
help
connect.
you
You connect with people.
connect in those, like, meetings,
Yeah.
even in, like, small talk, with yeah, like, as you're
100%.
networking or just, like, meeting with people too, like, being able to, like, share something about yourself
Yeah. I
is
wonder
so
why
much more
I wonder if that's
meaningful.
why so many a lot of Asians I know hate small talk too, so I wonder if that's why you just brought that up to like, oh, another thing. But no, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Domi. This is, I mean, I think we just got to the juicy stuff now, but I think it's a lot to think about how storytelling, like, it connects us with people, but we have to be able to connect with ourselves first. And,
Yeah,
maybe it's therapy that gets you to become a good storyteller or whatever, but you need to tap
yeah.
into that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, my art is therapy, like, I wouldn't be able to tap into these emotions or stories if I wasn't, like, working through my own shit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Domi. I'll see you very soon on
Yeah,
Thursday. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'll talk to you later.
yeah, you too. It was great
Okay.
talking to you, Dave. See ya.
Thanks, Domi. Thanks for listening to this episode of Hyphen Nation. Please subscribe to my Substack at www.davelou.com and follow us on Instagram at the Hyphen Nation and LinkedIn at Hyphen Nation.